After finishing this mini tutorial on variables, specifically Booleans in Power Automate, you should be able to walk away exactly with this. I'm going to test this flow right here. And this flow will demonstrate two successful ways for setting a Boolean as a variable and one unsuccessful way. So here I have a Boolean initialization, and down here I have two ways that I have set this Boolean using a string as well as using a function, and then the third way which did not work, and I will show you that in just a minute. Welcome, my name is Dana from IT Path. I love using Power Automate. I love using variables, and I want to be able to share some information with you which will help you as you build Power Automate flows down the road. What I'm going to do is share my screen, and we're going to dig right into making Boolean variables. So first I'm going to office.com. Once in office.com, I'm going to select Power Automate from the waffle icon on the top left corner. Once I've got this open, I'm going to say create. Now we have different triggers here, but we're going to focus right now on an instant cloud flow. So what I'm going to do is click that. Then I'm going to select manually trigger a flow, but I can also do skip and start with a blank slate. I love to start with a blank slate in Power Automate, so that's what I'm going to do. Up here in the top left corner where it says untitled, I'm going to go ahead and name this flow working with Boolean. And here I've got add a trigger, and this is going to be manual. So I can just type in manual here. It's going to see a lot of options show up. That's okay. We're going to go down here to this manually trigger a flow. And boom, now we have a trigger set for this flow. Now variables are a great way to control how your flow functions down as it's going down the path, all of the action steps. For example, a condition is a great way to control whether or not something happens in your flow. And a great way to control a condition is using true, false statements somewhere that say whether or not we want to run this part of the flow. And that is typically a great way to control that is with a variable Boolean. So we're going to do add an action. We're going to type in initialize. A variable always needs to be initialized before you can use it. Okay, so we need to do an initialized variable. It's got to be set, and it has to be set at the top level. The top level being the primary core of your flow as it goes down, right? If you're inside a loop or inside something, then we're not going to be able to do initialize variable there. But don't worry about that right now. Just worry about this right here. Let's create a Boolean. So I'm going to call it Boolean, and up here in initialize variable, I'm also going to call it Boolean. And the cool thing about that is that it changes the name of that action block. So Boolean probably for you is not going to be what you're going to call it. You're going to maybe call it condition to proceed, something that will make sense to your flow. I'm just calling it Boolean here for this example. And it's Boolean, type Boolean, and I'm not even setting anything in the value. All right, and then I'm going to save this. Now let's give it a quick test to see if that even works. So I'm saying test flow, manual, test, run. And look, it ran. So it set Boolean, but here's the thing, it actually didn't even set it to anything. It just made it exist in the flow. So now I'm going to go back to edit here in the top right corner. And now let's actually perform some actions. Now I like to use scopes because scopes gives you a descriptive way to control various actions in your flow and to kind of keep them grouped together. So let's call this scope working with Boolean variables. Okay, there we go. I've got a scope that I'm going to work in here. And now let's actually start working with that Boolean. So I've initialized it up here. And by the way, watch what happens if I do this. Add action. Initialize variable, and let's call it test, and let's test the flow. See how it did not like that? It does not like to initialize inside here. It cannot be nested inside something else. So that's what I meant when it needs to be top level. All right, let's delete this. We're not going to use initialize here. We're actually going to use, we're going to search for variables, and we're going to look for set variable. And that's what we're going to use. So let's say set variable. And we're going to set, we only have one variable to set, so that's the only one on the list, so I'm going to select Boolean. And we have these options here, look, true and false. Well, that's cool. So it automatically gives us these. We can set them that way. So I can just type in true here, and I can save, and I can test my flow. Manual, test, run. And now I have a success. It set it as true. And the same thing is with false. If I went in here and said set to false, then I can also save, test, manual, test, run. Done. And now we see it tested that way as well. So now I'm going to go back to edit here. I'm going to show you something, another way to set this, which is can be convenient. So let's also do variables, or variable as you're searching for it. And let's do set variable. And now let's add an action that sets Boolean. So this one set it as a string. So let's call this block set Boolean as a string, because that's what we just did. We just typed in false, we typed in true, and it set it. And then this one, let's say set Boolean as a function. So what do I mean by function? So when I go in here to set variable, see there's this enter custom value, and it's a little bit cut off here, but there's an FX button right here, function. And that can be, I can do true and I can do false. So let's do false this time. Add, and you see it shows up in this little function block. So let me save, test, manual, test, and run, and done. And boom, it set it that way. Now I'm going to show you the way that does not work. And for some people, this will be frustrating, because as programmers, many times you have languages that will show Boolean. So I'm going to do variables again, that will show Boolean as a capital T or a capital F and spelled out, capital T R-U-E, capital F-A-L-S-E. So I'm going to do variable and set variable, and let's call this set variable, and let's do case sensitive. We're going to set Boolean, and now what we're going to type in here is we're going to type in capital T R-U-E. It changed it. Let's do enter custom value, T-R-U-E with a capital T. And let's do save. Now here's where it kind of goes off the rails a little bit, but you need to be aware of this. So I just set it with a capital T. I just tested my flow. My test come out great. It allows me to save this flow with capital T-R-U-E set here. But when I actually tested to run it, manual, test, run, done, error, boom, it failed, because it does not support it as a capital letter. It only supports it as lowercase T-R-U-E, lowercase F-A-L-S-E. Okay, now real quick, let me show you, let's do a little bonus here. So let's delete that. That did not work. So let's do set it as, I love to set them as functions. So let's do it that way. I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to leave this one here. So where does this now come into play? Where is it convenient? So let's do add action, and let's do a condition. Let's just click that condition, and now we can say here condition, and we can click function, dynamic content, Boolean. So what I'm doing is I'm telling it, here's what I want to compare for my condition. Boolean add is equal to, and then I can do function here. I could also do this just as lowercase. I could just type it in here as well. But like I said, I like to do functions because it's like it keeps you in the guardrails. So let's do true, add, and now I have Boolean. If Boolean is equal to true, then do this branch, true. Else do this branch, and then you can put your other action steps in here. Okay, so let's just save this. And here we're setting it to false. So when we test this, it should show us that we're going to false. So let's try it out and see if this works. Test, manual, test, run, and done. And boom, it tells us Boolean is false. We click here and it says the expression result is false, meaning it would go to the false branch. If we had any actions down here, it would show us a green check mark on those actions, and this one would be skipped. So now let's edit again, and let's do condition. Let's actually put the condition, let's actually put something in here for this. Let's do another variable set. Let's do set variable to Boolean, let's say false. Actually, let's do it like we did the other way. Enter custom value, function, and false. So if it's true, then set it to false is basically what we're saying. So if Boolean comes in as true, set it to false. And let's save, test, manual, test, run, and done. And ooh, well, what happened here? Well, let's see. Oh, we never changed that. We never saved that as true. So see how this got skipped? Well, let's try this again. And let's go here. Let's take out the false statement. And let's do function true. Maybe I mistyped that last time. That's okay. Let's save. And now test and manual, test, run, done. And there we go. Boom. Now it set it to false. That was the output. So the condition here now says the expression result was true. So that is a quick, easy, dirty way that you can get started with Booleans in your flows to help control actions that are downstream in your flow. I hope that you find this information helpful. Please like, subscribe if you enjoy videos like this, content like this. Also, please put in the comments if you would like to see content around some specific other action inside Power Automate. I'd love to deliver you some content that makes sense for you and with where you're at in this learning process. Thank you much and have a great day.